Week 6 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few sleepers I have at quarterback this week. The first guy, Jimmy Garoppolo of the Vegas Raiders. So Jimmy G versus one of his former teams in the New England Patriots, where he got his break and started his NFL career. And obviously, he was supposed to be the next man up behind Tom Brady, but that obviously didn't happen in Jimmy Garoppolo's career. So he got traded to the Niners, and now he's landed here with the Raiders. So this week here, New England Patriots, they've been torched over the last few weeks, giving up 38 points to the Cowboys in week 4, and then 34 points last week. So right now, Jimmy Garoppolo available in 85% of fantasy leagues. I know he missed week 4's game with a concussion, and he does lead the league in interceptions, but he still has a decent receiving core, and it's a home game for this Raider team where I think he could put up decent fantasy numbers. So the last few games for Garoppolo, week 3 versus the Steelers, 324 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a 2-point conversion. And then week 5 versus Green Bay, Monday Night Football, a pedestrian type of game, 208 pass yards, a touchdown, and into. So with bye weeks here, once again this week, and a few quarterbacks banged up, or quarterbacks struggling, 2 quarterback leagues or the deepest of leagues, I think Garoppolo is a decent streaming sleeper option this week. Next quarterback, Desmond Ridder of the Atlanta Falcons. So Desmond Ridder, he's still one of the worst quarterbacks, I believe, in the league here. There's some games, though, he does put up some numbers, and last week was one of those games for Desmond Ridder where he had 28 fantasy points in basic format leagues with 6 points per touchdown. So Ridder last week versus Houston, 330 pass yards, a touchdown, 10 rush yards, a rushing touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. So this week on paper, a good matchup versus the Commanders that give up the 4th most fantasy points to quarterbacks on the season. Desmond Ridder, he just has to throw the football with more accuracy. He's got to set his feet more. You got good weapons, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Matt Collins, trade for Van Jefferson, and you got Bijan Robinson and Algier out of the backfield. So right now this offense, like I said, got young players that could step up and make some plays. So this week here, Desmond Ridder, if you're in deepest leagues as well and need a sleeper option, I have him as one this week available right now, 93% of fantasy leagues. And the third and final quarterback I have as a sleeper this week, Gardner Minshew of the Indianapolis Colts. And Minshew, he's going to be the starting quarterback for this Colt team for the next month at least, with Anthony Richardson out with the shoulder injury. We saw last season Gardner Minshew was decent with the Philadelphia Eagles, and even this season he put on a decent ball game in week 3 and started Baltimore, 227 pass yards and a touchdown. And last week in relief for Richardson, 155 pass yards versus Tennessee in that one. So this week here versus one of his former teams at the Jaguars, they do give up the 7th most fantasy points to quarterbacks on the season. So he's got pretty decent weapons, I believe. Michael Pittman, Josh Downs in the passing game, Alec Pierce. You got Taylor and Zach Moss out of the backfield. So right now, deepest of leagues available in 94% of leagues. That's a few quarterbacks I have as sleepers here for week 6 of the fantasy football season.